No one cares about who you are until one day the house is on fire and you're the nameless person holding the fire extinguisher in that moment. If my house is on fire and I do not know you're nameless, and I don't know you're black or green or whatever the color, I don't care about, but my house is on fire and you're holding a fire extinguisher, chances are I'm going to let you in because I need the fire.
Hello and welcome to Marketing for Healers. It's part of the Holistic Circle podcast. And in this specific case, we're trying to reach out to people who worked with healers, entrepreneurs, people who are self-promoting themselves to learn about tips and tricks and insight and philosophy about promoting marketing. And today we have here from Uganda, Prima Jope. Hello and welcome. Job, sorry. There you go. Almost. That was right.
Thanks, Phil, for having me. It's such an honor to be here today.
All right. I'm so famous for mispronouncing all the names, it's becoming a running gag. People almost waiting for it. But I not so bad this time. From Uganda, first of all, welcome. You're my first ever guest from Uganda, which I'm so happy because I'm planning to fill the whole world map with my guests. So I'm super, super delighted to cross off one country of my list.
There you go, your penetration into Africa.
Absolute, absolute. This is my big aim with this podcast to hear what people have to say about spirituality from every place around the world.
For
Okay,
sure. Can't
we
wait.
usually start the podcast by inviting my guests to give a small introduction, who they are, what they do, and I don't see a reason why here in this marketing for healers it should be any different. So I would invite you to take a couple of minutes and introduce yourself to the audience.
Prima Jope, as you already said, I really help the spiritual entrepreneur or the mission driven person who's gifted, who feels the calling, who wants to change the world, but has no idea how to go out there and say, this is what I do, and you can hire me. So my work is really centered about people who are like very great at what they do, but they're not great at marketing and selling themselves for one reason or another. And what I'm hoping we do today is make it easier for you to talk about your work because I don't even see it as marketing and sales. I do think that there is stigma around it, around how to do it and what to do and what not to do. And I have a different way I look at it. I've been doing this for 5 years and I find that the more skilled the person is, the harder it is for them to market themselves. And the less skilled people are, the less heart or soul people have, the louder they can get and say, give me your money and I don't even know if I can help you. But the more genuine, the more heart centered, the more calling which is on your heart, the harder it becomes for you to go out there and say things you don't understand. So I am hoping that I can share all of the lessons, the scars, everything that I have learned over the last 5 years specifically, as someone who has been doing this online, so that we can help the healers out there, the mentors, the coaches, all my mission driven experts to know that you have what it takes to talk about your work and you don't need some marketing agency or some marketing guru to help you do it. I think that the best person to talk about your work is you. And you already have the gas. So let's just put it the fire on, get you moving.
Thank you so much for this introduction because you are the first guest in this series. I have already 5, 6 podcasts booked in the next couple of days, but you are the number one. So I will just maybe say a couple of words because with all these pre-conversations I had, I figure out that there's more or less so far 3 groups of people I most likely be going to interview. One group is like you, very much believe in content storytelling, showing authenticity, making your story heard, getting in alignment. And this is who I am. I have strong information. And then basically the message will multiply. There's another group that is totally CEO. That is, if you just find the keyword alignments, if you look at all the metrics, if you look at all the data, or if you look at the charts and find the loophole within the loophole, behind the loophole on the side, then you will get your short video to 2000K and this and that. And it's super interesting. That's the second group. And the third group, I think a lot believe in tools or agencies or things like that. That's that's the third group. So those are the three groups I have so far interviewed in preparation for this, and I am very excited to talk with each and every one about the strengths and weaknesses of their individual pathway. But before we will talk about strengths and weaknesses, please, I know we didn't prepare for it, but can you just, because you're the first guest from Uganda, give me a couple of minutes on the spiritual world in Uganda, just what's going on outside of your window, what people are interested in. Just this is a spiritual podcast after all. And can you give us 3, 4 minutes to tell us about the spirituality in Uganda, if that's okay?
It's fine. I'll tell you about my story. When I was born, I had a dad who was like, those dads want you to be successful and they have a playbook. And when I was born, I knew that to become successful, I just needed to study hard. There were three things I had to become: a lawyer, an engineer, or a doctor. And if I had those things, I would get a good job, and then I would get a good man, and then I would have a family, and that was success. So that is how I was born and raised. But then 25 years down the road, this didn't feel like success to me. I was like, but whose success is this? Who said this was success? I'm chasing the grades. I've become an engineer. I'm an electrical engineer, actually. And I'm like, but like, whose success is this? I'm in corporate, working for a company that was a $3 billion company. And I'm thinking, yeah, but Prima, whose success is this? And I remember for me, when I turned 25, I realized that I was running my dad's life. Now, to your question, what is outside my window? It's everyone whose success is what they were told it is. It's people going after the traditional way of creating success. It's people in a 9 to 5. It's people getting married. It's weddings after weddings. It's kids, weddings, it's jobs. All this success that is very traditional and okay, it's just that some people like me internally were born to just know that this is not it. Like for me, I just knew that, okay, dad, you may be right. And I don't know better, but this does not feel like success to me. I don't want to have a job, climb the corporate ladder, marry some guy in the neighborhood, and produce kids, and that is my success. I actually want to do more. I actually want to serve more people than Ugandans. I actually have something to share, and I feel like my success. I have not seen it. It does not exist, and it's my responsibility to go out there and look for it. So for me, when I was 25, I decided I didn't want a job. And I started the bricks and mortar where I was styling men, helping men become confident and own rooms. And then something happened for me. While everybody else saw COVID and some global pandemic, for me, it was like a spiritual train. I was run over by spirit and I was forced to leave Ugandan market and go global. So for me, when the COVID hit, it wasn't just COVID. I had this thing of I wanted to do what Tony Robbins did, what Oprah did, what all these people did, but I was so scared. Who's going to even want to know what I do? Who is even going to care? Because I'm from Uganda and who knows, I didn't have the same knowledge and all of the things. And for me, I think that COVID was that spiritual truck that ran me over and said, okay, you have no business. You don't want to be in a job. Now you must find another way to keep a roof over your head. And that is how, for me, I came online. And everybody around here really is very comfortable in the norm. I don't even have any client in this country. People are not interested. They don't have that awareness of maybe there is more. Maybe success for me looks different. Maybe there is another. People do not know. So people are doing what they were told to do, what their parents said to do, what their grandfather did, and that's a success. Ugandan, like women, they get born. If they're lucky, they go to school. If they're lucky, they get a job, but they are raised to be married and to produce kids and have a family. That's the definition here. And a few people might have gone to the corporate ladder and tried to climb the stairs, but most people are like, okay, I'm here, I'm a woman, and my goal in life is to find a good man and raise a family. That's really what's outside the window. If I were to open my door and tell people what I do, people would be like, you're crazy. So I am inside my place here with my husband who came out of nowhere, and we spend the whole day talking to ourselves on the computer, and people call us weirdos because. So that's what outside my window. Everybody else that is apparently normal, and then us here who are like weirdos, always talking on the screen with strangers on the internet.
It's a surprising answer because I'm definitely no expert on Uganda, but I think there's a lot of modern and traditional happening parallel in the society, and that is conflict or reality or is part of the structure that things are a bit two different speed levels happening within people. Is that something that you could confirm?
Yeah, there is definitely people that are doing things. Maybe they're on the internet trying to promote their offer or whatever, but the level of depth and spirituality is not there because people are like into religion, really. I'm either Catholic or this religion. So this spirituality, like the modern spirituality, source, mother nature, divine, those things are not here. It is either God or Jesus or the church. That's as far as people go when it comes to spirituality. Now, things like therapy, there's a lot of stigma around therapy and things like that. So if you're sick, you go to a doctor. And if the doctor can't help you, then now things get really awkward. Because therapy, there's a lot of stigma around that. Healers, like who is a healer? Healing is something people take and they put in a building and they say only the priests and the pastors are supposed to do this. And if you start to really talk about spirituality in this country, you struggle because they equate it to religion, and I think they're different.
That is the reason I asked you the question. I'm not a Uganda expert, but I think that most of my audience will have a complete different opinion about Uganda than is the reality. Because we in the West, I don't know, we go to some dance workshop and we have some wonderful African dance teachers and they do shamanic dancing with us and to talk about the drums of the grandfather, but not wonderful story how they make their living. And I guess everybody who is here in Uganda thinks, oh, there's some shaman sitting outside the village and this and that. And this is all Disneyland for us. And I know that there are even places like this exist for tourists. But the reality of everyday people, as you said, spirituality, unfortunately, is totally connected to church. And therefore, the way we talk and understand about it, it's almost like a forgotten thing from some ancestors that used to practice natural spirituality, but long ago.
There will be, of course, the 1% of the 1% somewhere. I may or may not know them. But the reality is 90% of the people in that place where it's God, it's church, it's a job, it's a family, that's it. They might get a job, remote job in the UK, in the US, but that's as much they're willing to go when it comes to this global stuff. Okay, I might get a remote job, clock in remotely and work that way. But to go, I will go and impact the global audience from Uganda. People are like, oh, wait a minute. Like, that's very new to people. But I bet there's the 1% of the 1% who possibly understand this concept. I probably just don't know them, don't know where they are. If I
They're
did
in,
be connecting to them,
they're in Europe making workshop, earning great money, telling us how spiritual is to Africa. Okay. So thank you so much for a little bit giving the picture because I think people always need really to, I think it's helpful to know what it looks like when you open the window. I think it
Mm.
helps people to understand where you are and what you do to understand where you are sitting at this particular moment. All right. Thank you. Now, there's something about you which really makes me so happy that you're my first guest in this series, which I think is in itself very unusual. You wanted to help healers, you wanted to help them promote, and you said you had a question why there are so many great healers not, I don't can use the word good, most probably it's illegal word to use, but not as successful as telling the story, as marketing themselves. And you even said to me there are some people who are not so good, not so talented, but they're great marketizers. and they're honest ones, really good, and they're bad marketizers. That's something like that, how we talked about it. I must be a little careful with the wording. And then you said to me,
Mhm.
this is why, to understand, I decided to go and learn how to be a healer so I can understand the mind of a healer and start as a marketing expert because now I know them better. Amazing. Please tell us about this journey.
So the whole journey, Philip, started because for me, when I started, I could heal myself, but I didn't know that I was doing that. I knew that you could create space for yourself. I knew that you could eliminate distractions. I knew that you could build what you want. And I knew that if things came up, that you could sit with them and call divine intervention. Like I always knew that spirit, God, divine was there for me. And I always knew that there was help somehow. I knew that if there was a challenge, I could heal through it. But then I came to realize that it's not a reality of everyone. So where I started from before where I am now is I was helping people get paid from their personal brand. So if you had a small brand and you could share your story and you could help people through something you've gone through, you could get paid online. I did that. I helped people see like from first client, first six figure. It was very successful. But then it hit me because the better the person was, but it was for them to go out there and talk about their work. The less people knew, the more marketing they could do. The more grounded, the more spiritual, the more impactful someone's work was, the less they picked up things when it comes to marketing and selling yourself. They were amazing teachers. They helped people's lives transform. Behind the scenes, I'd be like, why does no one know you? If they started talking about work and their price, things got really awkward. Someone was sharing this smiles, and then I could really see them go, I have enough, and I'm what's going on? Like, why can't we use the same energy to talk about what we do? And then I realized there was a category of a person who struggled, and that was the mission driven. A person that is here because it's a calling, because they're put on this planet to do this work. They're here not because they wanted to do business, but because they probably went through something. It didn't kill them. And when they got out, they were like, okay, I need to help other people. So, first and foremost, they were not in the business for the money. So, while they loved the serving, the money was complicated, the marketing was complicated because they didn't sign up for that part. They're like, this is my calling. I am responding to my calling, and people must be there who need it. But why should I talk about myself? Why should I open my mouth and say, see me? Because I'm a healer, I am not trying to put a spotlight on myself. And most people will even unethical or wrong, or they don't see how, like doctors. I do not know the philosophies of being a doctor, but my brother will not promote himself because he's no, I'm a doctor. I don't do that. I just don't do that. I'm like, okay. So when I began to understand, it was the deeply spiritual people that struggled to talk about what they did. But I didn't understand, like, why? Like, you can heal trauma, you can heal people, you can do all these things. Why can't you talk about your work? They would explain, and I never got it. And I decided, okay, I'm going to study as a healer. I'm going to get down the weeds and understand actually how, like, the healing happens. Because I could heal myself, but I didn't know how. How did I actually do it? Like, how did I actually move from Uganda and started sharing my work? How did I overcome the fear of not being enough? How did I overcome the fear of being rejected? Like, how did I move through these pieces? It's like they were on the subconscious level for me. So now I become a healer and I understand that healers, while they can heal a lot of people, they have their own issues when it comes to being seen, being visible, being rejected. It's like they have selling and marketing trauma. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I'm not here to heal anyone's trauma, childhood. I'm here to heal marketing and sales trauma. I'm here to help people get out of their own way and talk about their work because while you can heal everyone's childhood trauma, it appears that you do have your own marketing and sales trauma and visibility trauma that needs to get out of your system. because the truth is people need your work. And if you can just see it as actually coaching or mentoring people, then there's no marketing needed, there's no selling needed. People just want to know, what do you do, who do you do it for, and why should they choose you? And the way that I look at marketing is really getting to meet people at the time when they are ready for the work. For me, it took COVID shutting down my bricks and mortar to go, oh my God, I need to do this online thing. I need to figure it out. I'll do it online. I'll start next year. Oh my God, I don't know how to create a brand, and I'm not Tony Robbins, and I'm not Oprah. And then COVID came and ran me over. And I was like, oh my God, now I have to do this thing. I came online and I had to figure it out. 3 years later, I met my husband, who I think God wanted me to meet in this whole journey because it's a very big part of what I do. So for the healers or whichever thing you help people with, I like to say that it is the awareness of meeting people when they have an opening. When there is an obvious sign that someone is open for the work, because a lot of marketing doesn't work if we're trying to talk to people who are not ready for the work.
That's it. Thank you so much. Let's just make a little cut here because this will be the main big next subject, but let's just stay on the first one because we want to give people as much help as technically possible. So let me quick rephrase. So the first thing is, yes, you explained that there is a sort of blockage or the trauma of marketing. I like this very much when you said it because I do talk to a lot of therapists any given day. And I can tell you a lot of therapists have trauma with marketing themselves because they've been trying all kind of things. They've been going through all kind of things. They've been trying really paid bad agencies. They tried friends. They tried themselves. So they've been trying and trying. And the result often is really bad in terms of nothing. So yes, it creates a trauma on, as you said, first of all, the inner trauma if you have a calling, but secondly, also the calling of exposure, of connecting, of the endlessness of the internet. So again, I would like to let's stay here for a moment. Do you think that what would you tell people when they said I've tried when they come to you and said, listen, I've tried, I post 3 times a day and they do and they do and they do. What would be your response to somebody whining or telling or sharing their frustration with the tools?
I have had people literally who were very successful offline. They were like a household name. Everyone knew them. People lined up for their work. They were heavily successful. And now they start this global thing because now even your neighbor buys their thing on the internet. Even your neighbor who needs your therapy services is on the internet looking for the person to help them. So you could be solving this problem and your neighbor is literally hiring Prima from Uganda to do it. And so people have been forced to come online because everyone is looking online for answers. And what happens for the healer is they've moved from this authority offline. Like we know you go to a doctor's office and you get clocked in and they ask, why are you here? What's the problem? That has no business in trying to explain to you that he's good at what he does. If you go to a brain surgeon and the brain surgeon says, okay, tell me about your situation, and then walks you through the system and said, lie down. Are you ready to sign up? That's how authority was built way before COVID. After COVID, now, isn't you imagine a brain surgeon in the marketplace saying, hire me? It's so awkward and so strange because what they do is so important that there is no reason why they should market themselves. It is so sensitive that people should just seek them out. The best thing that they know how to do is if I do great work, people will talk about me, the word will move, and people will come. I do not have any business talking about myself as a brain surgeon. But in the marketplace, it's literally come to that. You have to talk about your work or you forget it. People don't know who you are. People don't care who you are. So you have to talk about your work. Now, that is all the people who can help you market yourself. And unfortunately, there's levels to that. There is say the right things, run the best copy, have this hook and people will buy. Okay, maybe not. And then there is also this post every day, be everywhere, be visible. But what I do find, Philip, is it's not about being everywhere. It's not about being visible. It is about what are you taking where you go? What are you saying? How are you packaging what you do in a way that brings in people? It's every time you go in front of more audiences and write more content and get yourself out there, which is what everyone is telling you to do, it's like you have a bucket, but there's a hole in the bucket. Pouring water, but the water is running out. Because people are looking at you and wondering, I wonder if they can help me. I wonder what they're all about. I wonder if they're the right people for me. I wonder if I'm ready to do this work. And so I find that a lot of advice says go out there, build a brand, be there. But no one cares about you being in some place. People care about their problems today.
Uh-huh.
I have a house, it's on fire. I'm looking for a fire extinguisher. And when I
Yes.
see that, I'm buying that. So the way that I see marketing being done is either go do this, click this button, say this word, which used to work, Phil. But then the marketplace is now getting sophisticated. The buyers are getting so sophisticated. Manipulation will not work now. There's and a lot of things going on that now people have decided to tune to like their intuition. And people are now going, before I read your article, before I understand what you do, who are you? People look at your name and they decide if they are going to actually watch that or not. They're like, who is this person? Because these days, if anyone can say anything, anyone can look smarter, anyone can say things. People have promised things that they've not done. We have people getting into the healing space for the money. And people are like, my God, who do I trust? So now people look at your name and they go, but who is this person? And if they can't answer that question, they're gone. So now the question becomes, if you're a healer who doesn't have a big audience, who is famous in Serbia or whatever region you're famous in, and you're not known in the global market, what do we do? Like, how do we solve that problem? Because if I'm looking at you and going, no, I don't know who she is, just another person on the internet promising me heaven and hell. Because that's what people have done. They've taken the marketing, they've taken the words, they've taken the psychology of selling, they've put it on the internet, they've scammed people, people have made bad decisions, people have lost money, people have lost faith in their own services. There's people doing things they have no business doing, and like, what do I do? With I now, anything can be duplicated and anyone can own anything. And so what people are doing now, they're saying, who are you? If you don't pass that, the second thing is, how do I feel about this person? And if the intuition says no, people are gone. So then the question felt is, if you're not known, but you're amazing at what you do, you're healer for people, you're here to help people, but they do not know who you are. How do you break through the noise? How do you let people allow you to come in the door? Because people will keep shutting the door in your face if you look like the 100 other people that they have seen. People don't have time now. And they got their attention very seriously. And if you're just showing up and doing what everybody else is doing, trying to get the best hook and the best tagline and the best words, people are like, okay, goodbye. They don't care. So then a person who is not known, doesn't have a big brand, who is known on the Oprah show, what happens to you? What happens to the healer who just is known by the 5 village mates they help? Like, what happens to this person who is not going to pass the test? Who are you? What happens to them?
I think this was now a very valuable point because you don't, it's the exposure, it's the strongness and authenticity of the message, and that who are you? You made it very clear, I think, what people should be working in the first place. Because once your profiles or whatever tools you're using, if it's Instagram or LinkedIn, no matter where you are, if you cannot give people understanding who you truly are, that they will move on. I think this is one very important information that you've made pretty clear just to me. So that is one chapter. Now we started beginning about another chapter is that you say it's also very important once you reach out to understand that people have different phases of awareness when they should be and where they should be reached out to. So maybe we now go to that subject.
I want to connect to the part I was talking about. If you're not known and people don't know your name, how are you going to enter the market? And this is where I come in and say, my system is called House on Fire Marketing. No one cares about who you are until one day the house is on fire and you're the nameless person holding the fire extinguisher in that moment. If my house is on fire and I do not know you're nameless, and I don't know you're black or green or whatever the color, I don't care about, but my house is on fire and you're holding a fire extinguisher, chances are I'm going to let you in because I need the fire. So in the spiritual realm of things, there's clear activation points. There's points that show you that this person is now open to the world. And if someone has a house on fire in their own life, that is the point where they bypass the who are you and say, give me the thing. So if my wife wakes up, or my husband, I'm not a man, if my husband wakes up today and says, I want a divorce, that's a house on fire for me. Like, how do I get here? So if you come in, is it someone I know who, if you're getting divorced, one weekend is all he needs. He flies over to your house and he stops that from happening. He charges 150,000. House on fire. Someone can be in a job for 10 years, 15 years, and then one day they're laid off. And that becomes a house on fire moment. There is so many house on fire moments for people. There's so many activation points for people. How I see it spiritually is like divine spirit, Mother Nature is always whispering to you. Please go lose the weight. Please fix your family with your kids. And people don't listen because they're people. Spirit whispers and whispers, and one day it runs you over and says, okay, here, divorce. Wake up. I want you to discover who you are because I want you to go serve the world. There is activation points where it is obvious there's an opening for people. And what I like to tell people is if you can find that in your market and use that to get in the door, then now you're welcome guest. And once you're in the door, we can see what else. It's a fire extinguisher moment where you put out the fire, everything is chaotic, and the next day, the owner of the house says, hey, Philip, I really never took a minute to thank you so much for putting out the fire in the house. Really, thank you so much. Where do you come from? What do you actually do? Now you can bring your 12 months plan and you can lay it on the table, or now you're in the door, so we can move forward. But what's happening, Philip, is in the marketplace. People are going, I'm creating a brand. This is who I am. And people are like, I don't care who you are. I don't know you. Goodbye. Instead of saying, okay, I have a fire extinguisher. Is your house on fire? Who here is ready for the work? And just talking to those people. Because sometimes the marketing doesn't work because there's no opening. There's no opening. You're speaking to a man about children or about pills. There is an opening in your audience, and you go in there and be the person who saves the day. Chances are you will get yourself hired and you'll get yourself in the door, and that's where everything starts. Now, building a brand is good. You can talk about yourself, but what I find is that this brand building journey is a bit very slow and takes years and years. And along the way, people don't have clients, so they burn out, they lose gas, they drop out because it's not working. You try agents and nothing is working. As you build the brand, as you build the credibility, as you build the trust, what I have found helpful is really knowing the moments when you're welcome and getting in the door because you're the person who is having the thing that people want the most. It's like selling vitamins versus selling painkillers. We all know we need the vitamins. No idea how vitamins look like. Like, I don't buy them, I don't use them. I know I need them, I don't use them. If I'm to buy anything, I'll buy a painkiller today because I have some pain. If I cut myself, I'll go buy a painkiller. So I buy painkillers, it's possible that I could buy more things there. So if you're always trying to sell me vitamins, you might be trying to sell me those things for a long time and I won't be buying them because human beings don't work like that. They don't just wake up and buy something because it's nice to have. They People act like when they're like, okay, now I have to do this. And in market, I do find that it is important to honor the moment the person is in, because not everyone is ready for the work. And so if your marketing can meet people where they are, I think that is very helpful. To give you structure to this, is people that are hardly aware of their problem. They have trauma, they've been through 10 marriages, and they think they're cursed. No awareness whatsoever. They think women are bad, they think marriage is bad, they think they're cursed. No awareness whatsoever. The offer for that person, the best thing you can do for them is give them a book and hope they pick it up. So you get a book, you put $1 on it or $10, and you say, hey, I understand why you're having troubles with marriage. Here is a book. Those people are not going to buy your coaching because they're not ready. They don't know they have a problem. But then the person who is, okay, I have married 5
So
people.
we have to stop here because we're coming to the next chapter and I'm looking forward. But let's just please stay on this very crucial chapter because otherwise people want to strangle me. Because everybody now is listening to it asking, first of all, are you helping people find those fire extinguisher moments? How people should do it themselves or they should contact you and you will help them in their specific niche to find these moments if you want to talk about it, make videos about it, or reach out, how to find those fire extinguisher moments for your market niche.
I've actually created a PDF that has different markets, exact moments that I see as fire moments. So if anyone wants it, just go to houseonfiremarketing.com and request for it. There is different markets and different moments that people have an opening really and they are Googling for answers. They are looking for answers. They are desperate because in a moment where they have to fix it or fix it. And so this is not the entire business model, but it is a moment where you get yourself in the door. Because once you're in the door, most people are amazing. Once they're in the door, they can keep in the door. But how do we get in the door? How do we stop the scroll? How do we get to be the person who gets hired in the millions and millions of other people who claim to do the same thing you do? So I have created a PDF. It's inside the paid vault, but if you're listening to this and you're like, I want that, all you have to do is go to houseonfiremarketing.com, request for the resource, but then there's a keyword and you have to just say Phil, because I need to know like where did the person come from, because it's not available for free. It's just something I can pull out and give.
We will later you give me all the information and putting it down there on the YouTube so everybody can find the link. And it's amazing first step so that people understand what are the fire moments when they start to talk about people, because this is clearly something in I not only have a background in many things, but also I work in the marketing industry for basically 30 years, unfortunately. But in a bricks and mortar marketing world, so I don't know anything about online marketing. But what you said right now, the common things you learn, like first day in marketing, that when people have a need, that's when you have to provide them with the information where to fulfill the need. So this is like one-on-one, old school. I'm always smiling because this is really like super old school. I was 19 years old when I read that, and now I'm 50 something. So this is so amazing that this still works
It
logically.
does.
And I really don't know anything about online marketing much because I'm a lifelong bricks and mortar marketizer. But it's great to see and understand. And you're absolutely, I fully understand what you're saying. And I hope that the people watching it got the idea that there is a moment when somebody needs it, very specific moment in time. And once you dare to tell him, I have it, that is your highest chance, as you said, to get a foot into the door. Right.
There have been so many things, Phil. And when I look at the market and where it's going, it's the fundamental principles that still work. There's been a lot of hype, a lot of things. People have created this and this. But there's just timeless things that still work and will work because it's marketing 101. And in the noisiest time of marketing, these principles still work perfectly well because everyone is jumping off the next funnel, the next title, the next hook, and the next viral thing. And They're forgetting the very reason why people buy, which is I don't care what your marketing is. I don't even care who you are. I care that I have a problem right now and I need an answer for my problem. And I care
Right.
that I have a problem right now which cannot wait another day. So I'm going to hire the first person that makes sense to me because it's urgent,
Right.
it's painful, it's costly, and I don't want this problem. I can't sweep it under the rug anymore. My husband is leaving me. So the first person who can help me get around that is gonna get hired because I don't have time to research everybody and I don't have time to go through 12 months of stuff. But if you can explain to me how to get my family back this weekend, then let's talk and maybe then we can have a plan for the next 12 months. It's really the fundamental, simple things that work today. But people don't see them because everyone is looking for the next thing and the next thing. And I can guarantee you that the next thing is regurgitated from the thing that is already there.
I've seen a lot of these videos online, and I've seen like hundreds basically of these videos where people then would go online and say, is your husband is going to leave you? I know how to get it back. So basically, there's a lot of this very simple, structured, but I cannot imagine that's what you recommend to do these kind of videos where you just go out there and say, is your husband going to leave you this weekend? Come to me, I'll help you. I'm sure that you have a much smarter way phrasing it, approaching it, storytelling. Can you a little bit bring us to that point? Because I've seen hundreds of videos from therapists where they anticipate a certain, as you said, fire point, but then their approach seems not to be clicking.
It doesn't click if you try to manipulate people. It doesn't work if you try to use people's psychology. But it is a simple principle that if you understand, you can use it to your advantage. I don't know you, you don't know me. The first point is if you have this problem, I have an answer, and I'm not looking for millions of dollars from you. It's probably a dollar, it's probably $10. You get in the door. So for me, in the system, House on Fire marketing is identifying the moment and saying, okay, if you have this moment, I have this thing over here that is going to help you. And it's maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe 100. And letting people pick that. Now, once they pick that, then the next step is to demonstrate what you can really do for people. Once people are in the room, now the next phase is demonstrating what you can do. That can be a workshop, that can be a one-on-one call, that can be another way. But we have to demonstrate what you can do for people and give them a proper plan of what we would do if they gave us permission. And then it is followed by inviting the right person for the long-term journey. So I can see how that doesn't work because a lot of people use psychology and then they use manipulation and then they try to say the right things. And people are past that now. People are like tapping into your intuition and going, do I really trust this person? And if the answer is no, they're gone. So you can stop the scroll. You can get people to give you $1, but can you get them to give you 10,000? That's another question. And the extent to which you genuinely can help people and are not trying to take advantage of people determines the extent to which they can give you money. If you're trying to say the right things and say the script and say this word and this word, that has a way of coming out. Because people have watched these videos all over and over. People don't care. People like this person, do they have what I need? Yes. Okay, give it to me. What does that process look like? Are you putting me in endless funnels or are you giving me the thing? I asked for the thing and then you have to send me 10 emails. If I often do the thing and I say, give me the thing because my house is on fire, the next thing I want is a fire extinguisher, not 10 emails. So what happens is someone obscene and then you start to loop them around and they're like, forget it. There's a lot of copycats or a lot of things that just look the same and you feel like you've dropped into a funnel, into some a sequence. People don't want that. My house is on fire. Give me the house extinguisher. Where else do you need me to go? Come here. Okay, I've come. Tell me, what's your plan? Do I want the plan or not want the plan? People are now paying into people who are real people, like a human being, a therapist, someone that is trying to change your life, not marketers. So marketers are losing and change makers are winning. Because if you're trying to enact change and you're trying to help people, you quite honestly don't know the right things. I don't know the right things to say. I never say the right things. I don't care to say the right things, but people buy because in my head, in my what I do, I have no interest in saying the right thing because I don't want to say the right things. There's no right thing. But what I do know is that when someone's house is on fire, I have the fire extinguisher, and if they take that, we're now past the first hurdle, and I'm like, okay, I can actually help you with more stuff. So do you want to come and have a look? That's $50, $100. You come and sit, and I go, now that I can help you in this way, would be the plan that I could give you if I was to work with you. Would you like to work with me? And people can say no or yes, and that's fine. There's no I'm twisting involved here or needed. The right people at the right time want to buy what you have. But if you, in the energy of manipulating and controlling and selling them and cruising, people feel that and they don't want that because over the place, all over the internet. So what I see working today is when someone can stand to their ground and say, this is what I have, this is who it's for. If you want it, click here and get it. Without trying to be cute, without trying to be perfect, without trying to say the right thing. If you just tell people what you have, match a moment with an offer and say who wants it, and you let the right people say yes and the wrong people keep moving, you will see more buyers. The other misconception is when people think everyone has to buy. No, maybe one person has to buy every 100 people you meet, and that's okay. But when you start to say what was my click rate, what was my fill rate, how many people did I close, then we've lost it. Because not everybody has the activation point. Not everyone has a divine opening, and not everybody's going to have that transformation from you. What you want to do is go in the market and allow the right people to come and work with you. Allow the people that you're here to impact to come through. But they won't come through if you're trying to sign everybody. So your
Correct.
goal is to call people and tell them what you can do and let the right people come. And a lot of these people, when no one, they take that and say, what do I change? Sometimes you're in front of the wrong person. And sometimes you have the wrong offer. And so sometimes it's not about what do I change, what do I tweak. Sometimes it's, oh, I'm in front of the wrong people who don't want my message. Or I am trying to sell people vitamins and I need to sell them a painkiller first. Sometimes the data doesn't say change your hook because most people will go and change the hook. Maybe it's not the hook. Maybe it's the people you're talking to. They don't have the opening to do the work. And so it doesn't matter if you're trying to give them gold, they don't have an opening for it. Their journey hasn't reached a point where they must do the work.
Just now,
Yeah.
and I'll ask you a little bit brutal because it's such a great information and it's so valuable. But now we must help people. Let's say I'm a trauma therapist and I understand maybe I could get some idea hooks or I can get you a list of hooks. I have 700 people on my Instagram and that's what I have. How will I get exposure in your idea? How anybody will know about my hooks? How will I reach out? What would you tell if somebody's really in healing, in trauma, in marketing trauma? I call you up and I have 700 people. I hardly have money for marketing budget. This is, you get the hook. I get idea what the hook is. But what would you tell them to grow exposure or to deal with exposure? What would you tell them?
For me, it's not even about the 700 people. It is like, how did you build them? Who are they? Are they the people that you can actually help? Are they the right people? Do we have the right people? Because 700 is a number. It's in air. I have no idea what's in the 700. Where did you get these people from? How did you build the audience? Are they the people that you're trying to serve right now? Are they the people that you can help the most right now? Or are they other healers supporting you as a colleague? Who are these people? Because how you build the audience also matters. So a lot of people don't get traction because the people they have built, they didn't think about it when they were building them. So I have healers who have a network of healers surrounding them. And I'm like, what's your plan? What's your plan? They have all these people that don't exactly see them as their guide. They see them as a colleague. They see them as... So a lot of people have audiences that are built subconsciously. So what I would say for people, if you have the audience, first of all, the best way to understand if you have the right people or not is to create an offer. So I would ask you as a healer, what is it that you do? Childhood trauma, amazing. Okay. In my life, what are the moments when childhood trauma becomes a house on fire moment for me? What happens if I don't deal with trauma? Like, when would I listen to the most? When does trauma hit me the most? You lose a marriage, that could be trauma. Okay, cool. What else? We go to those moments. If you don't deal with your trauma, you could, I don't know, like, they would have to tell me what could go wrong as a result of me not dealing with my trauma right now. You could really struggle with being a parent. This is how it would show up. You could really lose your marriage to that. You may find yourself screaming at your kids or whatever.
Yes.
We pick the
Standoff.
moment. Like, for example, if I don't deal with my trauma, chances are I will not feel good enough. I will not feel worthy enough. And the man who married me because I was very attractive now begins to see someone who is highly un- unsure of themselves. And this could either bring some problems in my marriage and I could lose my marriage. Okay, cool. So are you saying that I could get divorced because I haven't worked on my trauma and things have added up? And they go, yes, okay. Is this the woman you're trying to help? What is your help? I want to help you discover yourself and heal so that you can become your soulmate and attract the best person. Amazing. All right. So now we are looking for a woman who has the awakening to discover who they are. And unfortunately for us, it looks like they've been slapped, they've lost their marriage, they've been divorced, and now they're getting up and they don't want to repeat the same mistake. Unfortunately, that seems to be the activation point. I'm not saying monetize people's problems, I'm just saying we need an opening. And I do
I
not know if
understand.
the opening is a promotion you got. I do not know if the opening is you've become a dad or a mom. I don't know. Openings are really like rude awakenings. Someone loses a marriage, and that's the opening, unfortunately, that we have to tell this person is looking for help.
So basically, you're sticking to your guns that it doesn't matter with the 700 euros if 700 people, if they're not the people that you should have filled up, well, why are they there? So that's one very good question. I think it's gold worth. And you're sticking to your gun. If you don't ask the right question, and basically you don't need actually 700 clients in 1 week, so you maybe need 4, 5, 6 new clients. So basically, you're sticking with your guns. If you ask the right question, if you have the fire hose moment, if you do the right thing in the right place, then you have a message. And if you reach 6 people, if they're the right 6 people, that's all that matters. The numbers don't count. It must be the correct message in the right moment to the right people, and that's it. So I
Let's
think we got
let's go very tactical here. It's not the 700. It's not even the 200. It is create an offer, ask people to give you $1 or 10 and see who takes that. Because a lot of confusion comes when you say, give me a lead magnet, take my. There's a lot of confusion there. Ask for a credit card and you will tell who is in your audience. Doesn't matter if it's $1, doesn't matter if it's $100. Ask for a credit card and you will tell if you have the audience or no. But we must solve the problem that calls out the people whose houses are on fire because unfortunately, these are the people that are going to give you the credit card. So a lot of people might have people, but maybe their levels of awareness are not there. And for someone to hire you to help them, they need to be to that level where they are ready for the work. If you're looking for clients, what I would say is create your house on fire moment. Have you just gone through a horrible divorce? Because I have a solution to help you forget that man in a week. Okay, you know what, Phil? Help me forget the man. After forgotten the man, now you go, you know what, Prima? The problem really is not this man. The problem is that until we heal the childhood trauma, it's going to be a repeat process in any
understood.
relationship that is presented to you. So, Prima, what I would like for you to do, or what I would like to invite you to do, is to take this self discovery, self awareness journey so that you become your own soulmate. So, it doesn't matter which man you're with because you're your soulmate and you will hold foot no matter what marriage you're in. I go, I trust
Okay.
this guy. He helps me forget this guy. So I'm going to trust this guy to help me become my. But a lot of people go and say, do you want to find your soulmate? No, I don't want to find a soulmate. I want to forget my ex. I want to save my marriage from breaking. I want to stop my kid from smoking pot. I want to know what to do with this promotion, which I have no idea to do. I want to know how to not scream at my kid. I want to know how not to get all these things that people are taking care of right now. But I don't know if people go in and say, I'll help you find your soulmate. Do I really want to find my soulmate? Or what's the actual house on fire problem here?
Right.
Does that help?
So yes, so we are
Yeah.
so lucky. We learned so much today, and now we're coming to you and your service and the agency. You've told me, or we both talked funny a little bit, that you're almost like heal the healer, and you said I'm holding space for healers to do their own trauma of marketing, to have the clarification, to go through that process with them together. They can consult you, and you create a safe space for them to connect with their marketing and capacities. So this is the last 5 minutes we have. Maybe if you can a little bit talk about yourself as Heal the Healers, and all the links and all information are down there. I think it was an amazing lesson for all of us who try to promote and marketize something, to really ask ourselves, are we saying the right things to the right people at the right time? Is that true, yes or no? And I think this is classic marketing theory 101, is there for more than 60 years, and it still works today, online or not. If you say the wrong things at the wrong time to the wrong people, they most probably are not going to listen. It's actually simple to listen, very hard to execute, and you really sound like you know what you're doing. So please take the last couple of minutes and talk about holding space. And thank you so much from my side.
You're welcome, Phil. Thanks for the opportunity. I do believe that you could be a healer, but you're also a human being. Just like any coach mentor needs a coach mentor. I'm a person who helps people with business. So I would call myself an intuitive business mentor, but I also pay for business coaching. And the person who helps me also pays for business coaching. So business coaches are business coaches who also have business. Like, it's just like that. Iron sharpens iron. So for you, the healer, you may heal all of the things in the world, but then when you get to market yourself, when you get on that video, you're thinking, oh my God, a horrible person is going to come and put a horrible comment. I had a healer once who did a video and men started hitting on her, and she was like, I don't want to do marketing again. And I said, like, it was one guy who didn't know you, who has no idea who you are, who clearly was in the wrong place. And we cannot let this determine your entire legacy because some guy was just showing up under your pants. So, in as much as you're a healer, you're still a human being. And unfortunately, you probably were not told that there is marketing trauma and sales trauma, and you still fear rejection. And who knows what is showing up from whatever the history and lifetimes you've lived because you put out a post and it got crickets. People put out a post and they're like, how many people liked it? Really? Is that how we measure if people have seen it? And I put things out there, Phil, and I have noticed that I have posts which got no interaction, and people message me and say, tell me about that offer. So if you go in the marketplace and you're looking for the validation, the likes and comments, we're measuring the wrong thing here. Because we're measuring likes and comments, but there's people looking, going, is this going to be the person that helps me with my trauma? They are even scared to comment because what if someone sees that I have trauma? What if somebody sees that I feel unworthy? People are watching. There's like what we call fencers and lookers. They're just scared so much of trauma or rejection or exposure that they won't comment. But they'll be looking, going, I really hope Philip has answers for me. I keep seeing this guy here. I really hope he has answers. And when you have an offer one day, they say, yes, give me the offer. They message you and say, Philip, I saw your offer, give it to me. But they won't comment, they won't like, they won't follow you. And they buy things. So we need to hold space so that we can take away angst. Imagine when you think about selling, if I was to put you in a room of 100 people, who are your ideal people? And I said, there's about your 10K offer. What comes up for you? If I was to say, okay, today is your marketing day, we have 1,000,000 people in the room, talk about what you do, what comes up for you. There is thoughts that people have around talking about what they do. Whether it is self interest they think they have, whether they think they don't know what to say, whether they think they will be rejected, I'll get crickets, people will abuse me, whatever the thing is, it brings a lot of and makes sure that people don't do the work or they don't do the work to the level beyond which they should do the work. I'll give you an example. I put a lot of offers out there. I put an offer out on my email list every day. And 2 years ago, I wouldn't do that. I struggled to put an offer on my email. I struggled to email people. In my mind, it was very intrusive. It was very marketing. It was very salesy. It was very pressuring of people. Sending an email every day to your list. I couldn't do it. Go in the marketplace, go on social media, no problem. But when it came to my email list, I just couldn't. I collected people's emails and I didn't email them. And I did that for almost a year until I went to this healing event and I had to face my own, like I had this angst. I would start an email and then I would delete it. I don't want to pressurize people. I don't want people to think I am so pushy. I didn't do it. Today, I see emailing people as there is people out there that are going to give up if I don't email them. And so every day I'm like, hey, if you know that you're mission driven, you're making people's lives better, and you need help, there's an offer. Every day in my peers, there is an offer. And I see that as you need to tell people that you have the fire extinguisher before they quit on themselves. Before I saw it as marketing, sales pushing, and I couldn't do. So, what is your definition or attachment towards marketing, towards sales, towards doing the videos, towards talking about what you do? How much angst is happening for you? Because how much angst is happening for you really determines if you can or can't do it. If you think selling is bad and you send an offer and someone says, no, Philip, I don't want to buy. Okay. You might say, let me send another offer. And someone says, no, your offer is crap. I won't buy it. After 5 messages, you're likely to go, no. Like, that's do it. You already don't feel comfortable around sending offers. Later on, these people are hitting you and saying, no, I won't buy it. It becomes harder for the person who has angst around marketing for them to create a post and get crickets. People don't want this thing. I'm not good enough. People don't like me. They don't like my message. Thing is not working. Jesus, I have no angst around marketing. I go out there and share my message. And if no one likes it, I go, oh, cool. If I put an offer out there and people don't buy it, I go, oh, no fire extinguisher moment here. I don't take the feedback of no one followed me, therefore no one followed me. The message must have been off. I don't put any attachment to the result, and because of that, allow myself to go in the market and test, get real data, interpret the data, make the changes. If you don't get the response you want, and now you go, they've rejected me, I'm not good enough, now we're heading in the wrong direction here. Because we have to send the offers, we have to create the assets, we have to make an invitation, and people have to say yes or no for us to know where to go next. But if we have angst around marketing, around selling, around doing all these things, it just is already hard. It is already hard to do. And so any resistance that makes it, we don't do it. I won't send offers because I don't want to be rejected. I won't do the video because
I,
no one will like it. And this thing prevent us from showing up and sharing our work. And if we can create space to come to a place of peace with marketing, with selling, then we can get out of our own way and we can allow the market to say yes and to say no, so we can allow ourselves to move forward with our work.
thank you so much. Unfortunately, we are at the end. I know we can talk for hours, but I really think that you gave an enormous value today to our listeners. There hope will be many of them, but the ones who need it, who have their fire extinguisher moment, their marketing is not working, I hope they will find it. I hope they will reach out to you. And it's one of the many puzzles of the new series. And I hope I can provide people with the help they need at the moment they need it. Thank you so much for being here today from Uganda. Thank you so very much, and I hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Philip. It's been such a pleasure. And thank you for the listener who tuned in and listened to us. I hope this was helpful, and you can learn more at houseonfiremarketing.com. There's a free resource. It has every house on fire moment for your industry. Grab that, test out the house on fire moments, get yourself in the door so that you can do the work that you're truly here to do. Let's not act as marketers. Let's act as change makers, people that are here to do work. Let's not get lost in the marketing and the hype and all of the things, because first and foremost, we're healers, we're impact makers before all this marketing stuff. So let's not get lost in the world of marketing and selling and hooking people, that we forget that at the end of it all, what matters is that the change that we can enact in people. People are looking for the work we do. So let's make it easy for ourselves to get in the door and do the work. That's what I mean.
Thank you.